Hello and welcome to the program The Desk on Global Television. I am Anthony Momodo. This is the maiden edition of the program The Desk, where we'll be looking at very salient issues making the rounds in Nigeria, specifically looking at the different regions in the country and how it affects the nation's development and the growth of Nigeria's democracy. On today's maiden edition, we'll be looking at the 6-month peace plan by the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Okeze Kalu, who in December led other prominent Nigerians to Bende local government area in Abia State to, officially commence the Southeast Peace Project. We all know that the Southeast have been bedeviled with lots of insecurity, ranging from the Nnamdi Kanu issue to the sit-at-home, issue that has affected the economic value of that part of the country. And so we are looking at how this peace project, 6-month plan by the Deputy Speaker, would be able to set free the region, talking about the Southeast region. Today on my program, I've got the man who will be helping us look at this very interesting issue in the person of Frank Ozo, Stephen Frank Ozo. He is my guest. He's a legislative aide, and also he's a writer, and lots of things, many caps he's wearing. Frank, nice to have you in the studios.
Thank you so much for having me, Tony. Thank you.
All right, he's not alone on the desk. On the desk, we are more than just 1, 2, we're as many as we can be. And someone, barrister Elebe Sunu, barrister Kester Elebe Sunu is joining us via Zoom. He will be helping us with the intro of this talking point. Barrister, nice to have you join us on the maiden edition of the program, The Desk.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure to be on board. Much obliged.
All right, let's look at the issue as regards the Southeast Peace Project, which was initiated by the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives in the person of Right Honorable Benjamin Okeze Kalu. For you, from the legal perspective, do you think this is the right direction to go to achieve the peace plan, 6 months peace plan for the Southeast? The state governors couldn't achieve this. The federal government seemed not to have achieved this. Do you think this man behind the scene can achieve this project?
Thank you so much for this question. I must say that it is a pleasure to be on this platform to discuss positive trends. For me, I think one of the challenges we have in this country is that we dwell a lot on the negative, and then we spend little or no time dwelling on positive. So when we have positive trends and positive issues, to advocate and promote, it's always a welcome development, and it's something that a lot of Nigerians need to key into.
All right, Barrister Kester, let's get your take as regards this positive trend, like you've named it now. Do you see, how far do you see it going, and what needed support do you think the Right Honorable Kalu would need for it to succeed?
Right, it's a welcome development, like I said initially, and it is something that it goes to show that the government of the day has the political will, to promote peace in the southeastern region of Nigeria. The people of Southeast have always, clamored for peace, and they've always been fingers pointing to the lack of goodwill or lack of political will by the government to promote or advocate such peace. And now we are seeing someone highly placed in the government of the day, in the person of Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, who is the convener of the Peace in Southeast Project, coming up with this laudable project or plan. So I think it's something that is welcome. I think it's something that will go a long way because he is a key stakeholder in the southeast region. So I mean, it's something that is welcome. I think we all need to key into it, especially the Southeasterners. They need to tap into this and encourage this initiative. And I'm sure with the right encouragement from the stakeholders, it will definitely succeed. Thank you.
All right, before I drag my guest in the studio into the matter, we know that one of the key issues that's going to bring peace to the Southeast has to do with the release of the man Nnamdi Kanu, who is behind bars currently. And it beholds on the people in your sector to set the ball rolling. Barrister Kester, do you think the judiciary is ready to free the man Kanu, and how important is his freedom towards achieving peace in the Southeast?
Definitely, one of the demands by the Southeastern stakeholders is the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It's been an agitation that has been ongoing for a while. And if nothing else, there's been a lot of goodwill or a lot of advocacy, and a positive response by the government of the day regarding the release. This is a legal issue, so we cannot speak sub judice.
Okay.
But I must say that there's been a lot of steps in the right direction. Key stakeholders in the government have welcomed promoters of this idea. So I'm sure deliberations are ongoing, and in due course, subject to procedures on, the court system, the judicial system, I'm sure we'll hear some positive outcome from that advocacy, from that deliberation. So I think it's a welcome development, and it will also encourage and motivate the Southeasterners to know that the government of the day, the government of the president, of the incumbent president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, are serious about promoting peace and development in the Southeastern region.
All right, just hold on to your horses, Frank. You've heard Barrister Kester, fire the first salvo. Let's look at how sincere the people of the South is to achieve peace. And for Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, is he on the right path? We've heard the state governors say they are backing this project. How sincere do you think the Southeast governors are?
Yeah, it's quite. First, I must start with applauding the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. This is a laudable project because, people have been clamoring for government action, positive action from those who are in power to actually restore peace in the Southeast. And coming from someone in the position, in such an exalted position, by divine providence and the will of the people, as Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, it's a welcome development. I mean, it's something that is quite good because it would tell us that whatever impact he's going to make, whatever move he's going to make, is actually going to create a very visible impact in the people and, of course, in the government of the day. So I see sincerity. I see, especially from the fact that it is coming from a different quarter now. Honorable Benjamin Kalu has actually, from the little I've known about him, being in the National Assembly, he has proven to be a leader of note, someone who, at least for the past few months, he has been there as a deputy speaker, and even before then, when he was a spokesperson of the House of Representatives. He seemed to embody the courage of a good leader who would actually wield some influence. So I do see him galvanizing forces together to actually push this. This originally has a good prospect, but the question of sustainability of this project is actually something that should be there, because especially talking about the governor, the Southeastern governors, which you told me about now, They have been, they have had, in the past, projects like there's a Southeastern Security Summit which happened sometime within the beginning of the last quarter of the year, around September.
In Owerri?
Yes, in Owerri, yes.
Okay.
So people have asked question about what is next, what has come after that summit. Okay, so well, let us believe that there is something going on that we are not aware of, especially now that this force has come, this peace P by the Deputy Speaker.
All right.
I do believe that they will join forces together and achieve something now. It holds great prospects.
Let's look at the fact, you're talking about sustainability. Do you think the fact that Ohanaeze Ndigbo, do you think that they are backing Kalu well enough? And are you convinced that looking at sustainability, 6 months plan is long enough, is good enough for such a very humongous task of bringing peace to the people of the Southeast and Nigeria in general?
Okay, I do understand that Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, with his team who are putting up this project, would seek and of course get the collaboration of the major stakeholders, such as Ohanaeze Ndigbo. And even beyond that, I am looking forward to an Ohanaeze Ndigbo that will quickly embrace this intervention from an individual, because Ohanaeze Ndigbo, as an Apex Igbo group, is there with the responsibility to cater for the well-being of the Southeast, the Igbo race in entirety. So, if that collaboration is not existing, I think it is a right step in the right direction to go seek collaboration with the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, with this his project, to ensure that they play their own part, because this is just a man who has initiated a very beautiful project, and of course with a timeline of 6 months. Now, there you begin to ask the question of institutionalization of this laudable project. Realistically, if this were to be a longer term project, then you can begin to talk about the possibility of implementing institutionalization. But now that this is a short-term project, I believe that even from the onset, the idea of utilizing the existing structure on ground such as Ohanaeze Ndigbo must have been factored in. If that is not in place, then it should be in place. Because the Ohanaeze Ndigbo has the existing structure that is big enough to be able to reach all the quarters where these projects will be achieved. Okay. And then, of course, not forgetting, good enough, the federal government is completely aware of this. I was so happy when, I saw that inauguration of that project on 29th December, that the president was there, the vice president represented the president, okay, at that event. So I do believe that it's quite a good step in the right direction, and then he is galvanizing forces to ensure that structurally wise, institutionally wise, they have gotten it right at that point.
All right, Mr. Kester, let's have your take on this matter in terms of having the right stakeholders in this matter. Do you think this 6 months plan is long enough and strong enough to achieve the peace we want to achieve in the Southeast? And also, looking at the fact that there's one man, Simon Akpa, who is said to be causing mayhem all the way from Finland. The fact that we had the vice president in attendance, are you worried that nothing has been done diplomatically to have that man repatriated or stopped from causing more havoc?
Yes, that angle the question you've asked of the peace plan and the effect of Simon Akpa.
Producer, we can't hear. Can
you hear me now?
Okay, we can hear you now.
Right. So if I get you correctly, ambits.
Okay, my question is, are you impressed with those who make up this peace plan in terms of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, the fact that the Vice President was in attendance, and if especially when you look at the fact that there's a Simon Ikpa who is said to be causing mayhem from Finland, and also the fact that this project is called non-kinetic. With the violence in the southeast, can non-kinetic approach solve this problem?
Yeah, if you look at and then of this peace plan, you understand that this is strategic and that it's not deputy speaker. All the 5 states have representatives or had representatives fora, and then and stakeholders. So if there's a buy with critical stakeholders with one common goal, which is peace, I'm sure the people like Simon Akpa disturb the process or Simon Akpa is a political whose where there is no unity, don't exist. Things like this actually exist, succeed. So I think this by the skeptical is.
Sorry, your comment your comment is breaking. Is there a way you can probably make it more because you're breaking, so that we can get you clear, loud and clear?
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I think it's better.
Right. So the process by which the deputy speaker was quite strategic. It involved consultations with all the critical southeastern region, lawmakers, from all were involved in the various forums, and there was a buy-in also by key from the southeastern region. And you see that there's a unity of issue of peace. So if all these persons have people like Simon Ekpa or other military or adversely affect that process, the much damage they will do, just have the sincerity to follow.
Okay, we just got your conversation in brief, because I think the network is a little bit dodgy there, not as clear as it was in the beginning of your conversation, but we hope it's going to get clearer. Okay, my next line of thought will be, do you think there should be a move by the federal government to extradite Simon Akpa to probably douse that tension and give those his followers back in the southeast a sign to say that the federal government is truly serious to bring peace to the southeast by dislodging their leader from afar? Can you hear me? Barrister Kester, can you hear me? Are you there? All right, let's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, my question is, do you think it's time for the federal government to dislodge Simon Akpa by repatriating him to Nigeria to make his followers know that the federal government is serious and can get the job done by dislodging their leader, which would weaken his followers?
Well, for me, no. If Ekpa has been found to have acted criminally or in breach of course, the federal government is with to initiate processes. So nobody's above the law. So it's within their rights. And of course, it will also make people the government means business and they are.
All right. I think I don't know why it's breaking, but we'll join you in a bit. Frank, let's look at the issue of Simon Ekpa. How important is it for him to be dislodged and for the members? Is there something the governors and Ohanaeze can do to assuage the followers of Nnamdi Kanu to make them believe that, okay, now peace is here to stay, probably for them to drop their arms and embrace peace?
Okay, you mentioned that, as you rightly saw, the nature of the intervention that the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives is taking, the PSP, is a non-kinetic approach.
Yeah.
So that simply means that we are not going to apply force here. It is going to follow the process of dialogue, sensitization, restoration of confidence in government, and everything that peaceful approach entails. And this is to tell you that talking about repatriating Simon Ekpa and all that, the answer is no too. Now, and I will even say this kinetic approach may also include that
non-kinetic.
Sorry, non-kinetic approach.
Yeah.
May also include that when you're looking at it from that angle, you may, quote unquote, the government now disregard the person and the influence of Simon Ekpa, so to speak, because they are not pursuing, they are not going to go after him forcefully. There are different ways of approaching things, especially this particular way now that you want to approach it. Attacking head-on might also raise some dust.
Okay.
Because this guy also have followers. Some school of thought also who have analyzed the issue of Nnamdi Kanu has also said that the whole thing skyrocketed when Nnamdi Kanu was arrested and brought back to the country illegally, as they believe and all that. They also believe that the way he was brought back to Nigeria and the way the approach, his trial is taken and all that, may also be contributory to, the uproar by his followers, even though we know, as has also been identified, and this I think is this position of the governors also,
okay, that
most of the insecurity issues in the Southeast is not really necessarily caused by the Southeasterners, so to speak. But then, in anywhere in the world, it always happens that when you have insecurity issues, some persons decide to fish in the troubled water. You understand what I mean?
Okay.
So now, in order to clearly try this approach, I think kinetic approach has been applied. Let us now try this a non-kinetic approach. So the person of Simon Ekpa should be disregarded by the government so as to not give him much relevance. Because it is when you begin to attribute too much relevance to personalities like that, they will begin to feel important and thinking that their opinion stands and of course supersedes that of the government. Okay, so disregarding him is a yes for me. And then following the mapped out strategies, which I called reconciliation, sensitization,
Okay.
and of course everything that peaceful approach entails. For instance, before the launch of this project, in December, before I think during that budget defense time,
Okay.
the deputy speaker, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, invited entertainers, top entertainers from the southeast. Yes, this happened in the National Assembly. We witnessed it on that day. He invited top entertainers from the southeast, the P Square, the Jim Ike, and the rest of them, to a round table, meeting. And the essence was to get them involved in this project as ambassadors of this project. So this is telling you that these are influencers, okay? These are also people who are followed, just like the man who is believed to have been brewing violence and issuing orders from Finland, also have followers, also have influence, okay? So these are influencers who also have followers from that region and beyond. So I believe that this is actually the first time it is happening. If it has happened, it's just maybe one or two voices speaking from here and there. But for the first time, this man has brought together a good number of them, top entertainers, influencers, to a round table to share this project with them and make them ambassadors of this project. So it is expected that these people will use their platforms to preach peace in the region. First approach, laudable. And that takes care of the area of sensitization, like I told you before. The people of the Southeast will begin to have a clearer understanding, a clearer idea of the fact that if you are angry, whether you are genuine about your anger or justified about your anger or not, there are some certain actions you will take that will amount to shooting yourself on the foot. So, there are better ways of channeling your grievance, even when they are genuine. And there are ways you will channel your grievance, even when they are genuine, you will be seen as someone defaulting, someone who you will be blamed still. It's a case of, you had problem with, okay, I'm having problem with you, and then we are fighting, and, I now do something that it will be difficult for whoever that has come to settle our matter or to judge our matter to spot out clearly that Mr. A is at fault, when I have done some things also that negates that dents my innocence. So
Okay.
that is about the sensitization part.
Okay.
Then the part that the government has to play, especially the non-kinetic approach. Let me dare to say that the part that the government has to play in this is to see the government of President Bola Tinubu, to see, as it should be, himself in a fatherly position. And then, of course, all regions of Nigeria, different strata of his family, we are one as a people. And of course, the non-kinetic approach to conflict resolution is the best, has proven to be the best, especially when there is sincerity of peoples, especially when it is an internal issue, especially when we are resolved to get things done. Okay? Now, the issue, where I was driving at is If this man can be freed,
Nnamdi Kanu.
Nnamdi Kanu, yes. When you want to take non-kinetic approach, because you have tried other approaches and you have seen that it has not worked.
Okay.
Sincerely speaking, it has not worked, not because the people of the Southeast has disagreed to embrace peace. Not just that. It has not worked largely because you have seen the other people one side raising a seemingly genuine concern, and you have seen a situation where people are fishing in the troubled water. So, the best thing to do, okay, the ones who have genuine concern said, our problem is releasing Nnamdi Kanu. Now, and all sort of things are happening there, and people are coming to claim, claim that they are the ones who caused this and that, and then the people are denying here and there, allegations here and there. Okay, it is not people of the Southeast, it is in foreigners, intruders, and other. I read the speech of the vice president, who represented the president at that. He also, in his speech, agrees that the people causing trouble in the Southeast are not necessarily Southeasterners or anybody from the other part of the country. He said so in his speech.
All right.
Okay, sorry, just 1 minute. Now, if that is the case, then the best thing we should do is to tackle the little area of genuine concern for the people, so we will be able to now take action. If you release that man and you see any other trouble in the Southeast, you know that these are clearly enemies and not people with genuine concern. And then, of course, you can tackle it, and that will be
Okay, Barrister Kessa, this is where you come into play. Do you agree with his line of thought that once Kanu is freed, we solve 80% of the crisis?
Yes. I think it will actually will go a long way in the unrests in the Southeast part. Because, of course, a lot of pressing information as the reason why. So if you take away the foundation of the agenda, and on nothing.
All right. My next question will be, looking as a legal practitioner, what is the likely possibility of Kanu being freed? Because in the last administration, it was obvious that the judiciary was being used to ensure that he remained in captivity. Do you think this present administration has the willpower to let him go? And has Kanu on his own path shown the willpower to have a change of mindset as regards his agitations?
Yes, so far, President Tinubu has proven to be who is committed to promoting peace for the nation. And he's someone who welcomes and peace promoting. I'm sure there's a lot of, like I said, advocacy from state, that the government of the day a political solution to. So I would say has not disclosed willing to listen or to political. It seems to willing to with regards to the political.
Okay, before we let you go, let's look at the state governors now of the Eastern Bloc, the governors of those 5+ states in the Eastern Bloc. Do you think that there's enough commitment by the state governors, and how big is their task to try to, apprehend those who are already armed, the armed groups within those eastern states. Now, how possible would it be for them to, arm those group members?
Well, uneasy lies ahead. So it's very easy for me to see what governors can and cannot do. It's easy to say that the state, the chief security of the state, it will
We're losing you. We're losing you. Is there something you can do? We can't hear you now.
So the state governors have a lot to gain if they promote policies that would, because of course it will make them. Yeah. You see what is happening in some of them. They don't having it easy. Then rest. Of course, the governor will not have. Can you hear me?
You're breaking. We couldn't really get the best of you there, but just to look at the issue in terms of now looking at how it has affected the Southeast in terms of the economy of the Southeast. Do you think there's any initiative which, in line with this program, that could help, kickstart the economic activities in the Southeast, and also to stop the sit-at-home phenomenon, which seemed to not have gone away completely? What can we still apply a kinetic approach towards that?
Well, like my colleague or my friend, the kinetic approach is that hence this non acts of the depth. So I would think that really the answer more of reorientation, sensitivity as to the need for peace by all the states. So I don't agree, in my opinion.
Okay.
It should be non-kinetic.
All right. Let's, Frank, let's look at the issue of unarming the ESM and other armed groups. Do you think it's possible to unarm them even with the release of Kanu? And do you think Kanu has really had a change of mind? Is Kanu still a risk for the Southeast and the Nigerian people?
Going back to, see, we are talking about the non-kinetic approach now. The kinetic approach
in terms of disarming
the people who are already armed. That's a kinetic approach. Now, I see that the trajectory this is taking now is non-kinetic approach now, which is largely sensitization, reorientation, and every form of peaceful dialogue and all that. So this is quite good. This is what is in vogue. This is what is in place now, what the Deputy Speaker is championing now. I do not know much, and that is not actually a subject we are discussing today, the kinetic approach, but we can mention it because that has been the approach by the government all this while, especially the state governments, creating their own counter security structure, Ibubago and the rest. So to disarm the bad eggs and all that. So now let us follow the non-kinetic approach now. If you release Nnamdi Kanu, like I mentioned earlier, if you release the man, the bone of contention, it can be conditional in order to, not to, and answering your question
so we
how
cannot
ready
trust
is
him.
he?
Yes.
How ready is he? I do sincerely believe that we have the Igbo elders, or Haneze Ndibo, Igbo political stakeholders. I remember in the 9th Assembly, the Senate Southeastern Caucus, under their umbrella, made some moves to, they called it then, to use political approach. Solution, to find political solution. So this one now is a new one. They have been different intervention platforms. So then it was finding political solution. But I think that move was truncated by the busyness of election period and the rest of them. So that is another approach. So, but I think if that could be returned or something like that, where the Southeastern Caucus, the political bigwigs there, interface with this young man, discusses his terms, because I believe that he also has his terms, I think, which includes establishing, his major agitation is the non-implementation of the agreement that was reached way back after the war, the 3 R's and all of that, And thankfully, immediately after that visit by the Southeastern, the meeting Honorable Benjamin Kalu had with Southeastern entertainers, he took a bill to the National Assembly, to the House, and it passed, first reading, to establish Southeast Development Commission, okay? I think these are things that will be presented to Nnamdi Kanu, and then of course it will be discussed by the stakeholders from the Southeast, that okay, if we, and of course this has formed part of the major argument of the Southeasterners, even those who are, supporting him, a bit. So that if they begin to see sincerity, in the part of the government, in meeting in, the issue of welfare of Southeasterners, believe me, even if Nnamdi Kanu, wait, let me tell you the truth. As it is now, what I feel, if the government is able to show the Southeasterners some very visible, convincing sign of complete inclusion, total rehabilitation, reconstruction, inclusion in the affairs of governance, government presence, in all sincerity, Nnamdi Kanu or whoever will lose followership. Because these are people who are renowned for having independent mindset. It is very difficult for them to be misled or for them to, follow what they are not convinced about. So what I'm trying to say is that even the person of Nnamdi Kanu becomes somewhat not too relevant when there are visible, and I believe in, the person of the President Tinubu, who is a father, who is a leader, who is a people builder. Okay? It is just an opportunity for him now.
All right.
Yes, if he releases this young man, that's what I'm trying to say.
And show commitment.
And then show commitment in the, genuine people, the Southeastern people, those who are the genuine people who are agitating genuinely about, we'll be able to sieve them from those who are causing trouble.
All right.
And then, of course, another program, which is the project of the government, the governors, can now step in with the kinetic approach and fish out, to answer your question of disarming those who are already armed. When this main thing is taken care of and the genuine concern, the real issue where people can be sympathetic to agitators, okay, is taken care of, then we now know that anybody you find with arm illegally will be taken care of according to the law. Simple.
All right, Barrister Ekesa, I want you to wrap up the conversation just like you started it. My last question to you will be, do you believe that there has not been sincere reconciliation since after this Nigerian civil war, and that's why we still have this issue of the people of the South is still feeling not part of Nigeria.
Yes, there's your question is quite germane, because it's the question of you cannot give what you don't have. You know, from the Civil War time to date, there's been a lot of evidence of marginalization, non-inclusiveness, you know, and by the government at the center, you know, for the southeastern region. And then even the southeasterners themselves have not been as united as other regions to promote or drive or promote their regional interests. So that has been one of the challenges that they have faced. You know, but like my friend has said, the government of the day has a very proven, well proven, and laudable track record of building people, of promoting peace and promoting development. If you look at what the president did when during his time as governor in Lagos State, and you look at some of his key partners, you know, in the political space, and notable men from the southeastern region, with the likes of Dave Umahi, the current Minister for Works, Senator Hope Uzodinma, the governor of Imo State, and the likes. You know, I think that the southeastern people have an opportunity to get it right. They have another opportunity to get it right. They have a government that I believe has a listening ear. So if they can get their acts together by uniting behind the kind of initiative as promoted, as being propounded by the Deputy Speaker, the PICE initiative, and like my friend said, other initiatives that will come up, you know, to add value to this current initiative. I think if they unite behind such initiatives, I think sustainable peace and development will be achieved in the Southeast. So it starts from there, you know. Charity begins at home. So I want to encourage the Southeastern people to unite, and then irrespective of the different states that they come from, Imo, Abia, Enugu, Anambra, you know, and all that. They are the Igbo people. They are wonderful, beautiful, renowned, industrious, powerful people. Wherever you go in this world, you see an Igbo man, you see an industrious, proud Nigerian. So I think they can draw on the strength of their heritage, you know, and then promotes the current initiative. I am sure if they do that, we'll see a different turn. We'll see more inclusiveness, you know, in the Nigerian project. Thank you.
Last words from you. We know that other regions of the country perceive those from the South with a little bit of suspicion. How can we dispel that suspicion, and whose burden is it, like you say in law, to prove or to now dispel? Is it people of the Southeast to dispel that burden of the other regions, seeing them with some bit of fear, especially when they remember the likes of what Ojukwu, the Major Ojukwu did in the past? And how do you see that playing out? How does it affect this peace project?
Well, you can't take away a man from his culture. You know, the culture of the Southeast, the average Easterner is business oriented, is ambitious. If you like, is very bold. And then, unfortunately, a lot of negative elements from the Southeast have worked hard, you know, to negate the positive aspects of the Southeastern culture. But, you know, you cannot, it is widely said that you cannot use one apple to spoil all the other apples in the basket. There are also negative-minded people from other regions. So, largely, collectively, the positive values in the Southeastern region far outweigh the negatives. So I think every in Nigeria if you are objective enough, you will see that the positive far outweigh the negative. The southeastern people have more positive things to value to add to Nigeria. So let's not concentrate on the negative things or some elements within the southeastern region who have been known for some notorious things. So it's across board. Every Nigerian culture region has negatives. So if you focus on the positive, I'm sure we'll be able to communicate more with them. I will be able to add value to it.
Thank you, Barrister Kester Elebe Sunu. It's been super amazing talking to you on the decks. Thank you for being the first Zoom guest and one of the first guests on the maiden edition of the program, The Desk. We look forward to having you live someday and hopefully also have you more on Zoom. Thank you for the outstanding and very objective and patriotic analysis of today's discourse. Thank you very much.
Much obliged. Thank you so much, sir. Have a nice day.
All right, thank you very much. And to my guest in the studio, Frank, amazing job done. And we hope we'll be having you more often on the desk so that we can, pattern a way forward for Nigeria, for the 6 geopolitical zones, and to ensure that the project, the 6 months project, we are going to be part of it all through the 6 months and ensure that peace returns to the Southeast and to Nigeria as a whole. Any last words?
Okay, last word is very quickly. The peace project in Nigeria, I must tell you, or in any region of Nigeria, will not be achieved without the collaboration of every one of us. Whatever that happens, Nigeria has come to be. Whatever that is happening in the Southeast, believe it or not, it is affecting the South, Southwest, every other region. Whatever that is happening in the Southwest and vice versa. So it is a collaboration that we have to have. And of course, the narrative, we have to change our narrative. Stereotyping is something that has way bigger negative implication than positive.
All right.
Stereotype, we should get off with stereotype and know that and pick our, like my colleague said, get to harvest the positive stories around us and project them way beyond the negatives.
All right, so that's how we're going to call it a wrap on today's edition of the program. The Dex is this is the maiden edition. Hopefully, in the coming days, tomorrow is another edition of the Desk. Hopefully, you'll be seeing more of Stephen Frank Ozo, who is a writer, public affairs analyst, and also an MC, master of ceremony. He does lots of things, and he's a legislative aide. Also, he'll be joining me on the desk as often as possible. My name remains Anthony Momodu, saying thank you for being part of the Desk.